Hello everybody and welcome to the virtual open evening presentation for A-Level Media Studies here at Long Road Sixth Form College in Cambridge. My name is Michael Collins and I am the head of A-Level Media Studies here at Long Road. With me, but not in shot, are our excellent other media studies teacher, Jack Avery, who is on the live event question and answers. So if you do have any questions at any time, I won't be able to answer them instantly, but Jack will be able to answer any questions that you have. So please do pop them into a live event Q&A and I can hopefully get round to them as well. Also unseen, but still very much there, is our excellent technician, Sam Gamble, who normally would be helping us out with all kinds of equipment and software and everything like that. He is manning the actual production side of things tonight as well. So this is our small team for tonight. Could I see the next slide, please, Sam? There we go. And the next slide after this, please, Sam. There we go, fantastic, brilliant. So A-Level Media Studies is part of the Business Economics and Media department here at Long Roads, and we feel this is an ideal placement because the subjects, they tend to go together pretty well. Students who take business studies often do take media studies as well, although we do have students mixing A-Level Media Studies with a variety of different subjects. For example, arts and A-Level Media Studies goes down very well. Photography and A-Level Media Studies goes down very well. But this year we have plenty of students who take subjects such as maths, such as English literature, such as pretty much anything really. And as I pointed out in the last slide, my name is Michael Collins and I'm the course team leader. And we also have Jack Avery in our small team as well. Next slide, please, Sam. Fantastic. So just before I go into what A-Level Media Studies is, I want to start out with a little bit of the nitty-gritty of how you actually get assessed in this subject. So first of all, it's really, really important to point out that A-Level Media Studies is an A-Level. Now, that might sound completely obvious, but this is a very, very different subject to Media Diploma, for example, which is much, much more focused on the coursework side of things. A-Level Media Studies, on the other hand, is more skewed towards exams. However, there is also a big chunk of coursework in there as well. So let me just briefly just go through exactly how you are assessed in this subject. Principally, there are two exams that you sit at the end of 2 years of study. These exams are rather boringly called Component 1 and Component 2. Component 1 is perhaps the most exciting of the two exams, essentially because you will be given some material that you've never ever seen before. So for example, a music video, an advert, a film poster, a combination of many different things, and students will be expected to take everything that they've learnt over these 2 years and apply it to these things that they've seen for the first time. So this exam is very, very much the unseen part of the exam. Now, there are also not unseen parts of this first exam as well. The second exam is called Component 2, and the full title of this exam is Media Industries in Detail, where students will be expected to talk about the magazine industry, the television industry, and the online media industries in detail. For Component 2, we expect students to talk about these things in way more detail, and there is no unseen aspect to this one, so students will be expected to really, really go into depth there. And then, perhaps most importantly of all, we have coursework, which makes up the other third of the A-Level Media Studies experience. And in the coursework, students will be expected to take on two very, very different projects in order to, very different practical projects in order to make up the 100% of the A-Level. So in terms of an A-Level, yeah, we do have two exams, but we also have approximately, over the course of 2 years, approximately 1 in every 3 lessons will be coursework related. So as far as A-Levels go, we are very, very practical focused. Can I have the next slide, please, Sam? Fantastic. So let's go into a little bit of detail about what A-Level Media Studies actually is. So I'm sorry if this sounds a little bit ridiculous, but A-level media studies is the study of media. And what do I mean by media? Media are different types of products, okay? And in A-level media studies, we analyse TV programmes, but we also analyse radio broadcast, but we also analyse social media and magazines and blogs and video games and the film industry and loads more. So a full wide range of different media industries. And what's the kind of stuff that we look at? Well, principally, we are interested in how the audience uses and interprets media. And we are also really interested in how different groups of people are represented in media products. We are also more and more interested in this idea of producers manipulating and beginning to essentially do things to audiences. Can I move on to the next slide, please, Sam? Fantastic. So let's just do a quick, this is everything that we study in A-level media studies. So while we kind of look at all, bits and bobs, like these are all the different industries we look at. So we start off by looking at the advertising and marketing industry, which starts off the 2 years of study. And this is also our introductory module as well. So the very first thing that we do as students, or the very first thing our students do, is they go out and they make a film. Okay, and this film is a short suspense sequence, basically just thinking about the absolute basics of filmmaking. This segues very quickly into the advertising industry. So considering how advertising and marketing works, and considering what effects it has on audiences, how it can potentially manipulate audiences, issues in terms of representation, and exactly how the industry itself is structured. After this, we briefly move on to the film industry before then looking at magazines. And then we look at newspapers. I've got this in a slightly wrong order here. And then after that, we look at music videos. After kind of getting an introduction to music videos and the music industry in general, then we start to think about students actually making their own music video, which they complete the last thing they do in first year. After that, students will make their own magazine, and these two bits form the whole of the coursework, which I'll go into in a little bit more detail later on. And also we look at online media, social and participatory media, which is essentially related to online media, the radio industry, the television industry, and we also look at video games as well. So this is a broad subject. There's no two ways about it. We look at a variety of different things, and there's bound to be something in there to be of particular interest. Next slide, please, Sam. So one of the key, extremely important things that we think about is representation. Okay, this is a particularly hot topic in the media at the moment. How are different groups represented in our society? How do different media types use stereotypes? We look at all these different questions, and we consider recent events and historical events as well. And we consider why men, why women, why young people and so on are represented in the ways in which they are. Next slide, please. We also consider media industries, and by media industries, what I mean by that is the people who actually make media products. So broadly, for every industry we look at, we need to think about who makes it, why it's made, how it's made. And so we've got an image here of, this is from Ubisoft Canadian studios. So these are the people who make video games such as the Assassin's Creed series, for example, which is one of the video games that we do study. And in order to get students really into this idea of industry, we carry out a number of different simulation tasks throughout the course of the 2 years. So for example, when we do the magazine industry subject, as a class, we make our own magazine. Okay, me as the editor and the students as the absolutely terrified interns, kind of running around and creating fashion shoots and stuff like that. And when we do the newspaper industry, very similar. Okay, so we have an editor, and then the students will run around, they will dig up dirt and gossip, and then they will create a scintillating tabloid newspaper, which is actually produced in an extremely similar way to how newspapers are actually produced. So this course, while we look at the theoretical side, also considers the practical side at every single last aspect. Can we move on to the next slide, please, Sam? So the most important aspect of media studies is the audience. So who is it that actually watches media? What do they get out of it? And what are the different ways in which they react to it? So this, yeah, as I said, is one of the most important aspects of media studies. And there are so many different theoretical kind of ways of looking at this. But students will need to consider this as well when they create their own music video, when they create their own magazine, when they create their own group magazine, all the other different practical tasks that we do over the course of 2 years. How do you actually appeal to an audience? How do you actually make sure that an audience is engaged with a media product? Next slide, please. And textual analysis. Okay, it doesn't sound particularly exciting when I'm pointing it out here, but textual analysis is the basis, is the framework of a whole of media studies. And to be quite honest, is the thing that I am most excited about. When I say textual analysis, I mean taking a media product and breaking it apart and thinking about exactly what it means. Thinking about things like lighting, thinking about things like editing, thinking about things like mise en scène, which is French for what has been placed into the scene. We consider and we break apart and we work out the exact meaning of media products that the producer went out to make. And of course, there are many, many different interpretations of this as well. So in many ways, very close kind of analog to something like A-level media studies would be something like A-level English literature, for example. So in exactly the same way as A-level English literature looks at poetry, for example, we look at things like adverts, and we look at TV shows, and we look at media language in order to break down the meaning and then to consider what effect these products may have on society. Can I have the next slide, please? So I've been rabbiting on for quite a while now, which is a little bit dry, but what I really, really want to draw attention to is the fact that students do make work, they make excellent work, and you can check it out on our blog at lr-media.blogspot.com. So the URL is up there on the screen at the moment. So this is what we use primarily to set work. Students also have their own blogs as well, where essentially they will publish their work, which will allow me to mark it. And this is how we do things in A-level media studies, no worksheets here. And this is excellent because students can access this at any time. And I do invite you all to check out this blog, because on the blog you can find resources, so actual lessons that we've done. You can take a look at past papers to take a look at the kind of, exams that students will be sitting. It can look a bit fearsome if you've not actually started doing A-level media studies yet. Do remember that these are past papers for exams, which are sat at the end of 2 years. You can also find a really, really full-on and detailed and free A-level revision studies guide, which I made myself, and you can download that for free. And that's yours to keep. And that is all A-level media studies and loads more. Let's also draw your attention to the A-level media studies YouTube channel as well, which is kind of in its infancy at the moment, but I set it up during the lockdown and already started chucking loads of lessons up on there, loads of resources, loads of tutorials and stuff like that. So there's loads and loads of great stuff to find, but probably most importantly, and I completely left it off this, you can find previous examples of students' coursework. Okay, can you skip on to the next slide, please, Sam? So what is the split between coursework and between the exam? Well, we can't beat around the bush here. This course is predominantly exam based. It is an A-level. This is an academic course. This is a course which is, held in high regard by universities, right? So A-level media studies is an academic subject. There is an emphasis on theoretical analysis, and there is a significant amount of practical work. So this subject would be an absolutely excellent subject for students to pick if they are into the theory, if they're into the theoretical, but also they want to get their hands dirty as well, that they want to do some practical work. So this is an excellent kind of mix and match subject for students who wish to take an A-level but don't want to go the full academic route and wish to do something a teeny bit vocational at the same time as well. So yeah, that is 30-70 in terms of coursework and exam split. Can I have the next slide, please, Sam? So let's just talk a little bit about our results here. So it's a question I always get asked, so I popped it in here. So I think if we take a look at this graph here, so the most recent results were a teeny little bit up, which might, be understandable because of the slightly inflated grades which we experienced due to the lockdown. The year before that, we actually took a little dip there, and that was because we'd switched over to a much harder specification. And I don't know if you've been following A levels, but basically students now sit exams at the end of 2 years, so there is no longer this sitting exams at the end of first year and second year. But I do really want to draw your attention to the fact the last 4 years our results have consistently been above 50% in terms of A's to B's. So just taking our 2018 results, for example, so that was a couple of years ago, and I think that's the last properly kind of comparable results. We can see we've got 56.7% high grade, so that's B grade or higher. 96% of students got an A star to a C, and 100% of students passed, which is, we've also kept that 100% pass rate for the last 3 years as well, which we're very chuffed with because we are not a small subject. Can we switch on to the next slide, please, Sam? What do we do apart from working? Well, we do several things, although not really quite at the moment because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But previously, we've gone on a range of different trips, including cinema visits, including university visits. We also like to do this thing where we have student work exhibited at Cambridge cinemas. So we've done that at the Picture House, and also we've done it at the Lights as well. And we also have a range of visiting speakers in. So, for example, Neil Henderson, who is the head of film and media at Anglia Ruskin. We've had him in a few times, and other people as well who are related to academia and industry. And we hope to resume these trips as soon as possible. Can I have the next slide, please? Cool. The question I always get asked at these open evenings, which you're probably desperate to ask me, is, well, A-level media studies, it sounds great, but what can I actually do with a course like A-level media studies after I'm finished? And the answer to this is basically many things. A-level media studies is a challenging but rewarding subject, which is valuable to many different careers. So there are a couple more kind of obvious careers which are related to media studies, and there are a couple of perhaps less obvious ones. So, for example, the career which I think students most want to go into, I say we probably have about 10% of students every year who are really into this. They're really interested in the idea of journalism, okay, the idea of writing for a newspaper, for example. But with the way things are going, digitally convergent media and all that, we don't just have to write for newspapers anymore. We have, we can see people going off to write for blogs, writing for in-house magazines and other publications and stuff like that. Journalism is a very broad role. Media production, marketing also seems to be a very popular one as well. So working in marketing and the advertising industries as well. And then we have the more kind of broadly related, but very much related to A-level media studies. So things like photography, and things like promotion, product design as well. And I know that we do teach photography and things like product design at Longwood Sixth Form College. But A-level media studies can lead to these kind of careers as well. And another one as well, which is really important to point out, is that potentially it can lead to a teaching and academic career as well. But also A-level media studies is an A-level which can lead you towards a variety of different degrees. In fact, potentially it can lead you to almost any degree, unless you specifically wanted to go into, for example, veterinary science or law. A-level media studies can take you in the direction of film/media production courses, film studies, media studies, sociology, photography, art, design, English, American studies, all that kind of stuff. So there are a whole range of different university courses that you can potentially explore with A-level media studies. Cool. Can I have another slide, please, Sam? So in terms of what our students say about this, I've just got a really nice quote here from a current student who's called Layla. She's a second year student. I find A-level media studies really enjoyable because it gave me the opportunity to be creative and to make my own magazines, photo shoots and music videos. I particularly appreciated the amount of creative freedom that we were given within these tasks. It allowed me to make media products, which I was truly proud of, which is obviously something really delightful to hear. And this is something that we really do pride ourselves on in A-level media studies, is giving students absolute and total creative freedom over what they want to do. So just thinking very briefly about the kind of coursework that you do. So at the end of first year, we ask students to make a music video. Okay, a full-length music video. This will not be the first piece of film media that they've created. They will have done other stuff like that before, but this will be their first opportunity to make something which is full-length. Okay, a full 3 to 3.5 minutes. Students can select whatever song they want as long as it doesn't already have a music video, and students are expected to make a music video which will appeal to a very specific audience. And beyond that, however, students can basically do whatever they want. And although I'd love to show you a video right now, it might be slightly too technically demanding to do on this, but do remember that you can check out previous student work from the A-level Media Studies blog at lr-media.blogspot.com, where you can check out a whole range of student coursework, including magazines, including newspapers, including music videos. You can find all those links to our various YouTube channels up on there. So I really do strongly suggest that you do that. Cool, right. Can I have the next slide, please, Sam? Which I suspect is the final slide. So I hope to, I hope to see all of you very soon, actually in person. So right now, this is just a little taste of what we have to offer in A-level media studies, but we would like to welcome you to these welcome days, which are in June. So basically, if you have applied to study with us, you, the student, will be invited to our applicant welcome day, where you get to spend a day in Longroad doing subjects, trying them out, and then seeing what's going on. We are also holding a second open evening, lucky you, in June 2021, which is not a massive way away, where it will be sunny, where it will be wonderful, because hopefully this whole COVID-19 situation will be a distant memory, and you'll get to wander around the college, you'll get to check everything out, and you'll get to see exactly how everything works. So, right. Cool, excellent, fantastic. So Sam Gamble, our moderator, has just shoved the link to our website. So quite frankly, I would say click on that link and scroll around, have a look at the kind of stuff that we do, because that's pretty much going to give you a better indication than me rabbiting on. If anybody's got any questions, please do pop it into the live event Q&A, and we'll check that out. And if you have any questions that you would like to ask me in particular, my email address is mcollins@longroad.ac.uk. But yeah, we're going to finish slightly earlier than scheduled today, because I think we managed to get through everything. Again, if you've got any questions, please do let me know. Let me just remind you that our application deadline to come and study at Longroad is the 12th of January 2021, which sounds like it's in the distant future, in some kind of science fiction film, but instead it is actually just a couple of months away. And we've also got the phone number up on there as well, which I'm not going to read out because I'm sure you can see it. And we've also got our email inquiries and admissions inquiries emails as well, that you can email if you've got any questions. It's wonderful. Cool. Thank you very much, everybody, and I hope to see you all very soon.